Hello everyone, my name is Jojo. Welcome to my channel Joyroute-jojo. Today we start a new tutorial series on Microsoft 365 administration. We will follow MS 102 syllabus. This is the syllabus for MS 102 exam. Deploy and manage Microsoft 365 tenant. Implement and manage Microsoft Entra identity and access. Manage security and threats by using Microsoft Defender. Manage compliance by using Microsoft Review. So all these modules are there for the Microsoft 365 Administrator exam, which is MS 102. So we follow the same syllabus and I try to do videos on the same syllabus. So we start from the first module, which is deploy and manage Microsoft 365 tenant. So here in the Microsoft exam page, exam MS 102 Microsoft 365 Administrator, they provide some documents to prepare for this exam. What I plan to do, I will just go through with all these documents, and whatever is written in text, I will convert to video. This is what I plan to do with this tutorial series. Along with that, I will try to create some practical videos and introduce the 365 admin portal and all those stuffs. All right. So module 1, it is implement and manage Microsoft 365 tenant. So first comes create a tenant. So we will be creating a tenant. I will show you in this video how to create a tenant. After creating the tenant, we will just log into the Microsoft 365 admin center, and I will just introduce the 365 admin center, all the options and menus we have in 365 admin center. So this is the part of this particular video, and ongoing we will see all the syllabus areas, like module by module we will be discussing in this tutorial series. So let us start. Create a tenant. So to build your cloud computing foundation, you must first understand the relationship between Microsoft 365 subscription and Microsoft Entra tenant. If you use a Microsoft 365 plan, it provides access various Microsoft products like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, and along with cloud services for storage, collaboration, and communication. For example, like Exchange Online, SharePoint Online, OneDrive for Business, Microsoft Teams, and more. So all these services we get it once if you purchase Microsoft 365 plan. It according to the plan you get these services. So when an organization subscribes to Microsoft 365 plan, it creates some user accounts, assign licenses to those accounts, and manage subscription settings. So when an organization purchases a subscription to Microsoft 365 plan, such as Microsoft 365 E3 or E5, if a organization purchase either E3 or E5 plan, Microsoft create a Microsoft Entra tenant that support those Microsoft 365 services. So when you purchase the subscription, Microsoft create an Entra tenant that support those Microsoft 365 services. So this Microsoft Entra tenant is underlying foundation that enable user authentication, authorization, and other identity related functionalities for the Microsoft 365 services such as Office applications, Exchange Online, SharePoint, Teams, and more. In summary, a Microsoft 365 subscription is a paid plan that gives an organization access to the Microsoft cloud services. A Microsoft Entra tenant is a container. So what is Microsoft Entra tenant? It's a container that holds all the resources and associated with that subscription. So Microsoft Entra tenant, it's a container that holds all resources associated with that subscription. Learn how we can create a tenant. So before creating a tenant, let me just introduce the plans before you, which Microsoft offers to us. If your organization is having 300 and below users, 300 and below, users in your organization, then you can go with Microsoft 365 Business Basic, Standard, Premium, and you have Microsoft 365 app for business. With the business standard plan, you can get support up to 300 users. Even for the premium also, you get up to 300 users only. So if your organization is having below 300 users, then you can choose any of this plan, and the cost is given here. The services you get from the basic, standard, and premium vary according to the plan. In your case, your organization is too big and you have got thousands of users. In that case, you can purchase an enterprise plan. Either you can go with Microsoft 365 E3, 365 E5, or F3. And there is no option to directly purchase this plan. You will have to contact sales. You will have to contact any partner, Microsoft partners, and commonly the partners will purchase this for you, and they will allocate this license. They will create the tenant for you and allocate to you. Normally, this is the practice that follow in the organization in the Microsoft field. So if your organization is very small, it is only having 300 users and below 300 users, then you can select any of these. Now I'll just show you how you can create a tenant. To select any of this plan, for the example, I'm selecting Microsoft 365 Business Standard. I free for 1 month. Let me click on that. Or you can purchase it if you want to purchase. Show the demo. I'm just clicking on try free for 1 month. Here you just mention how many people is this for. Only for one user, 30 user, you can mention it here. In my case, it is just one user. Let me click on next. Here you will have to add your work or school email ID. Just add that and click next. Now you have to set up an account. So with the standard, you get all these services like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Publisher, Access, Teams collaboration, OneDrive, cloud storage. So we have to set up the account. Let me click on set up account. Give the first name. I give it as my company name. I give it as Joyroute. Then the last name I mention as Jojo. Phone number, I provide some number. And the company name, I mention it as Joyroute-jojo. This is my company name, and company size, it is just 24 people, 24. Country region, I select it as Oman, MNO Oman. Yeah. I would like to share the information. Click on that and click on next. So it will ask you to send a verification code. Verify that. Here you have to provide the sign-in details. So this will be your domain name. So with this will when you log into the 365 admin center, this will be your username and password. So please keep this username and password safe and keep it separately. Click on next. It's creating an account and signing you in. All right, now we have to make the payment. As it's a free version, I have to just provide the credit card details. It won't cost anything for 1 month. After 1 month, if you are not canceling this, it will charge you the cost, whatever it shows here. Make sure you cancel it before the date. Otherwise, it may amount will be deducted from your debit card or credit card. All right, if I complete this add payment method, then my tenant will be created. All right, so now we have created the tenant. I have showed you how to create the tenant. I already have a tenant, so we'll just log into that and we'll show you that the overview of the admin center. All right, so to log into the admin center, we have to type https://admin.microsoft.com. This is the look and feel of the 365 admin center. Here you have users. Under users, you have all the active users, contact, guest user, deleted user, and all those details you get it from here. We will be seeing how to create a user, how to delete user, what is guest usage. So all this we'll be discussing in the coming videos. The first thing we are going to do post logging to the Microsoft 365 Admin Center is nothing but configure your Microsoft 365 organization profile. So that is the first thing that you have to do. So to to configure your Microsoft 365 organization profile, you have to come down under settings. You have organization settings, select that, and here you could see organization profile. So click on that, and here you have organization information. Before going to that, let me tell you one thing. Completing your company's organization profile is a starting point when setting up your company's Microsoft Entra tenant. Some of the properties that Microsoft 365 administrator must maintain cause the provisioning process to halt if they are incomplete, which means if you are not giving the proper details, organization information, then the provisioning process may halt. For example, one such attribute is address line. The provisioning process stops. I repeat, the provisioning process stops if an organization does not have complete address. One important thing is that you must be assigned the global administrator role to update your company's organization profile. So to allocate admin role, you can come here and role assignment, you can do that. These things we are going to take it in details. The first thing first, we will talk about the organization profiles, what all settings to be done here in the organization profile we will be checking now. So the first thing, organization information. You have to fill all the organization information properly. And if you want to make any changes, you can do it here. I cannot show this particular tenant organization information. Instead, I could show a picture where what all details it's there, I can show you here. Here comes the name of your organization. If you want to change, you want to make any changes in your organization name, you can make the changes here. Then comes the street address, city, state and province, postal code. So these details to be filled because these are a mandatory field. You will have to fill all these settings, all these fields. There comes something called country or region. You cannot change the country. It is disabled area. Once you set up a tenant, you cannot change the country. Uh, Maybe you raise a ticket with Microsoft. Will they help you or not? I do not know. But from your end, you are not able to change the country or region, and you have to give the phone number, technical contact, and preferred language. There is something to say about preferred language. There is one issue concerning the preferred language field that you should be aware of. The preferred language determines the language for all the communication that Microsoft sent to your organization. So if you select English, all communication that Microsoft sent to you in English. So if you select some other language, like instead of English, you select Spanish. So Microsoft will be communicating to you in Spanish. And you can make the changes here. In future, if you want to make any changes to your preferred language, you can make it here. So when you signing up, these settings also determine the language used by SharePoint Online. So in the beginning stage, when you create the tenant, there you have selected the language. So that determines the language used for SharePoint Online. You cannot change the language for SharePoint Online, which your users see on your team site. If you change the preferred language after you sign up, that means after you signing up, after you log into your Microsoft 365 Admin Center, and this time you're going to change the language here, this does not take effect for SharePoint Online. However, the language used by SharePoint Online remains in the original language selected because you cannot change it. So whatever you have selected while creating the tenant, that would be the language for, that will be the permanent language for SharePoint Online. But for all other communication, if you want to make a changes, you can make it here. I think I'm clear with this topic. All right. So after filling up your organization information, if you want to make any changes here, you do that. Then come back to your custom themes. If you want to make any changes to your look and feel of this 65 admin center, you can do it here. So here you can select up to 4 customized according to the document. It says you can create up to 4 customized 4 different customized theme, and you can apply to different groups. For example, a group in the HR department, they want to see a different theme. You can set it here and allocate to that particular group. That can be done. So here you can add the theme and do that settings here. We'll just check it out what all things are there in the default theme, and we have a default theme. Let me click on default theme, and here you show the usage display name. As I have selected here, it says my name here. If you do not want, you can uncheck and save this. So when you log out and log in, the name will be disappeared from here. If you go to logos, there are 2 options to bring the logo to Office 365. One is through URL. You can put it in some location, and you can through URL you can update it, or you can upload it directly from the computer. So what I have done, I have uploaded from my computer. I have uploaded a logo. I just selected one picture and I just added as a logo here. And if you want to make any changes to the navigation bar, consider this navigation bar, the top navigation bar, presently it is in the black color. You want to change to blue, you can do it here. Let me select blue. Okay, and I'm going to save this. If I just log out and log in again, this top navigation bar will be changed. Let us see. Yeah, so it has changed to blue color right now on the top navigation bar. So we'll go back again to the settings, organization settings, and or setting up the organization profile and custom theme. In this way, if you want to make any changes in the default theme, you can do it here, adding the logo, colors. You can just go through and do the changes accordingly. All right. Now, here we have something called data location. If you want to see where your data, your Exchange mailbox data is saved, or your SharePoint data is saved, you can check it from here. Click on data location. Here you could see my Exchange Online is saved in India. Exchange Online Protection is in Asia Pacific. Microsoft Team is in India. OneDrive is in India. SharePoint is in India. So where the data location, you could see it from here. And if you want to know some keyboard shortcuts, it is given here to manage your 365 admin center. Here they have given a lot of keyword and shortcuts like active usage. You can add user with the shift A plus U. You can add a user, reset password with the shift plus R plus P. Contacts, you can add it with the shift A plus C. Add a group. So all that keyboard shortcut is provided here. That is an overall idea about the organization profile and settings you can do. You can configure before setting up anything else in this 365 admin center. Manage your tenant subscription in Microsoft 365. Maintaining minimum subscription requirement is essential for organization to remain functional, which means we should have minimum subscription requirement for an organization to remain it functional. Purchasing an insufficient number of licenses can result in implementation delays, while purchasing an excessive number of licenses can result in overspending. So all active and deprovision licenses can be reviewed from Microsoft 365 Admin Center. So we could, from the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, which is this particular page, from here we can know all active and deprovision licenses can be viewed from here. In the left-hand navigation pane, this is the left-hand navigation pane, under billing group, licenses page, under subscription, you can view all your available licenses, assigned licenses, and account type. So all those details you will be able to see it here. all information about an organization existing subscriptions, including billing and payment information, is available within this billing group. This group includes such your products, licenses, billing and payment, billing accounts, payment methods, and billing notifications. So we will see one by one. What is your products? What we have in your products? This page displays all the plans. This page displays all the plans purchased by an organization. So here you could see we have purchased some business premium plan and available licenses, purchase quantity, everything you could see it here. It is possible to manage it from here. Then comes licenses. This page provides a summary of the licenses that you have subscribed to or for each plan purchased by an organization, including all the available licenses for each plan. Consider you have multiple products that you have purchased here. So here in the licenses, you could see summary of the licenses that you have subscribed to each plan purchased for an organization, including all the licenses for each plan could be visible here. Then comes bills and payment. So billing and payments. This page provides a history of all invoices charged to your organization along with the payments methods and billing profiles. All right, that is what comes under bills and payments. Then comes bills account. This page manages an organization purchasing relationship with Microsoft. Each billing account contains defining information about the organization. For example, addresses, contact information, and any tax information that applies. All those billing account details are visible here. Then comes payment methods. This page enables an organization to define payment methods that it can use to pay for subscription. You can add your payment method here. Then billing notification. This page identifies who receives billing notification with an organization and how each billing statement is received. So this is all about managing your tenant subscription in Microsoft 365. So all that related to your tenant subscription comes under billing and you can manage it over here. All right, let's move on. So configuring the tenant level sharing settings for SharePoint and OneDrive is the next unit in this particular module. This is a big module. We have a lot to cover in this particular module. MS 102, configure your Microsoft 365 tenant. As we are aware, SharePoint and OneDrive are two cloud-based platforms that allow us to store, share, and collaborate all files and folders in Microsoft 365. The external sharing features of SharePoint and OneDrive allow or let users in your organization to share content with people outside the organization. You can also use external sharing to share between licensed users on multiple Microsoft 365 subscription if your organization has more than one subscription. This particular training unit focuses on how organization can change their organization level sharing settings. When it comes to SharePoint, we have sharing settings in organization level and site level. So this particular unit focuses on organization level sharing settings. To allow external sharing on any site, you must allow it at organization level first. OneDrive sharing settings can be the same as more restrictive than SharePoint settings. Only global administrators and SharePoint administrators in Microsoft 365 can change organizational level sharing settings for SharePoint and OneDrive. So to change the organization external SharePoint settings for SharePoint and OneDrive, you must navigate to sharing page of SharePoint Admin Center. So let us practically see how we can change the organization level external sharing settings. Change organizational level SharePoint settings, you have to come to SharePoint Admin Center. SharePoint Admin Center, you can get it from Microsoft 365 Admin Center, and here you could see the admin centers. Here you select SharePoint. You click on this, that will land on this particular page. And here under policies, you have sharing option. So on sharing page that appears, there are several sections of settings that you can configure, like external sharing, files and folders link. Then you have more external sharing settings. Then comes other settings. Here you have then you have advanced settings for anyone links. So we will check one by one. First one, external sharing. This section of sharing page allow you to configure the overall settings for your organization. So in the external sharing, we have multiple options here. So the first one is anyone. Anyone means allow users to share files and folders by using links. Let anyone who has the link access the files and folders without authenticating. So that is what meant by anyone. Then comes the next one. We select the next one, which is new and existing guest, which means require people who received invitation to sign in their work or school account or Microsoft account, or to provide a code to verify their identity. So this is what meant by new or existing guest. Then comes existing guest. Allow sharing only with the guests who are already in your directory. These guests might exist in your directory because they previously accepted sharing invitation. Here comes the least privacy one, which is only people in your organization. No external sharing allowed. Completely we are turning off the external sharing. So this is an overall about external sharing. Now comes files and folder links. The next section of sharing page is nothing but file and folder links. So this section of the sharing page allow you to choose the option to show by default when a user create a sharing link. This setting specifies the default for your organization, but you can choose the different default link type for a site. So we have three different sharing option, like for specific people, only people in your organization, anyone with a link. All these three options are there. So we'll specifically see what happens with specific people. So this option, select this particular option, this is most restrictive and impedance broad internal sharing. If you allow external sharing, this option let users share with specific people outside the organization. So the next option is nothing but only people in your organization. If the link are forwarded, they work for anyone in the organization. So if you select this one, it works anyone with your organization. This option is best if your organization shares broadly internally and very rarely shares externally. In that situation, you can select only people in your organization. Then comes anyone with the link. This option is available only if your external sharing settings is set to anyone. Forwarded links work internally and externally, but you cannot track who has access shared items or who access shared items. This option is best for friction-free sharing if most files and folders in SharePoint and OneDrive are not sensitive. In such situation, we can select anyone with link. Now come some advanced settings for anyone links. This section of sharing page enable you to select expiration and permission option for anyone links. So we have link expiration. This link expires on this particular date or something, you can select it. Then comes link permission. You can restrict anyone links so that they can only provide with few permission for files and folders. So that settings you can do it here. Then the last one is other settings. We have three other settings: show owners and name of people who viewed their files in OneDrive. Let site owners choose to display the names of people who viewed files and pages in SharePoint. Use short links or sharing files and folders. So these other settings also we have in the sharing page. So in overall, we have all the sharing settings for the organization level is done over here, and each settings we have discussed right now. All right, let's move on. We are in the first module of MS 102 exam. which is configure your Microsoft 365 experience. In this, we have covered all these points and we have discussed configure tenant level sharing settings for SharePoint and OneDrive just now. Now we move to the next point, next unit, which is nothing but configure tenant level settings for Microsoft Teams. So let us discuss tenant level settings for Microsoft Teams. Say Microsoft 365 administrator, we can configure various organization level tenant settings for Microsoft Teams. These settings affect how users and guests can access and use Teams features and capabilities. The first settings is nothing but guest access. What guest access will do, it allow you to enable or disable guest access to Teams. Guests are external users who can participate in your team chat, calls, meetings, and channels, but have limited access to other resources. They can only participate in Teams chat, calls, meetings, and channels, but have limited access to other resources. You can also control which domain can have guest access in your organization and which team features are available to guests. So to log into the Teams admin center, I can just practically show you where you can enable guest access. So we are in the Microsoft 365 admin center. If you come to admin center, you have team admin center here. Click on that. That will lead you Microsoft team admin center. Here under the left blade under users, you have guest access. You can enable guest access on or off. So when you turn it on, what happens when this is on, people in your organization can invite guest users to access teams and channels in your organization. If you turn this off, guests cannot sign into your teams using their guest account. So that you can enable it here. And we move to the next one, team settings. Here under team setting, it allows you to customize various aspects of team, such as app setup policies, meeting policies, messaging policies, the live event policies, voice settings, and device settings. As part of team settings, let us discuss some major settings that you can enable it in Teams admin center. The first one is nothing but meeting policies. You click on meeting policies, you get some default meeting settings here, or you can add or create some meeting policies. You can customize the meeting policy. For example, I create a customized meeting policy right now here, and I name it as test policy. And here, meeting and join lobby. So this is the first one which I want to discuss with you. Anonymous users can join meeting. What happens if you turn it on? When this is on, anyone can join Teams meeting, including Teams users in other organizations that are not on your allowed domain list. So even if that user is not in part of your allowed domain list, if this is turned on, then during the meeting he can join. If this is turned off, no anonymous user can join in any meetings. So only the people, anonymous users, if some other organization users want to join to the meeting, this is to be turned on. And this is content sharing. This is some settings related to your screen sharing. You can, if you not enable, then users cannot share the screen. Or if it is entire screen, then you can share the entire screen in the Teams meeting. Who can present? Everyone can present. People in my organization and guests can present. Only organization and co-organization can present. So here about the content sharing, you have the settings here. For the whiteboard, collaborate animation, and live share. So all these settings comes under here. Then something related to record and transcription. If you want to record the meeting, then this to be on. Otherwise, you won't be able to record the session. And here comes transcription. And you can turn on your transcription here. All right. So there are a lot of settings for related to meeting policies that you can set it. Either you can edit the default policy which is available here, or you can add a customized policy for our, and you can create a customized policy and you can assign to certain groups here. So that's about team settings. Then about the Teams app, allow you to manage the apps that users can access and use in Teams. In our Teams, we can integrate many of the applications. So it allows you to manage the apps that users can access and use in Teams. You can view, approve, upload, block, or uninstall apps. Those settings you can do it in the Teams Admin Center. If you check each and every point, then this session will be very lengthy. So what I want to show you only the important settings that impact in a organization. Now about the Teams analytics and report, which allow you to monitor and analyze the usage and performance of Teams in your organization. You can view various reports and dashboards such as Teams usage activity report, Teams device usage report, the Teams live event usage report, and the call quality dashboard. So all these reports are available. To view the report, what you have to do, you have to come in Teams Admin Center, come down here, analytics and report. You have usage report, reporting label, call quality dashboard. So all those reports comes under here. So let us verify some reports. What all comes under report? You have all these options: app usage report, external domain activity, Teams device usage, Teams webinar usage, Teams town hall usage. You can explore it. Once you, what I suggest, you create a test tenant and please explore all these options. All right. So I was just trying to get some Teams usage report for last 7 days. Unfortunately, as I do not, we do not have any data to show because we don't make any calls in this test tenant. So the data is zero here. In other ways, you can get some Teams usage data. If it is a in the production environment, we get the data here. All right. So this is all about configure the tenant level share settings for Microsoft Teams. All right, the remaining we will discuss. We have two more points here in the first module, so that we will discuss in the next video. Let's discuss about enable unified audit logging in Microsoft 365. Unified audit logging is a feature in Microsoft 365. It's a feature of Microsoft 365 that allow you to track and record user and admin activities. So once if you enable it, you will be able to track and record user and admin activities across various services and applications such as Exchange Online, SharePoint Online, OneDrive, Teams, Power BI, and Microsoft Entra ID. So once if you enable this unified audit logging, what you will be able to do, you will be able to track and record all the user and admin activities across various services and applications. With unified audit logging, you can monitor and investigate security incidents, compliance violations, and operational issues. You can also generate audit reports and alert based on specific events and criteria. The unified audit log provides a centralized collection of audit events related to Microsoft 365. So the unified audit log provides a centralized collection of audit events related to Microsoft 365. It encompasses activities such as file downloads from SharePoint or OneDrive, user sign-ins, and administrative actions. You can access audit log through Microsoft Purview compliance portal. So I will practically see where you can view audit log and what all searches you can do it in the audit log in Microsoft Purview or compliance portal. So if you enable this unified audit logging in Microsoft 365, it helps us to achieve some benefits such as enhanced security and compliance by detecting and responding to suspicious or unauthorized activities such as data breaches, malware attacks, or policy violations. The other benefit is something like improve operational efficiency and performance by identifying and resolving issues such as configuration errors, service outages, or user feedback. The third advantage is nothing but gain insight and visibility into user behavior and preferences by analyzing and reporting on user actions such as file accessing, sharing, collaboration, or communications. So this audit log captures wide range of activities, including application administrative activities, Microsoft Defender for identity activities, and some custom searches. Now we do not have to enable this unified audit logging in Microsoft 365. It is by default, it is enabled for Microsoft 365 organization. But earlier we had to enable it from the portal or through PowerShell or some or Cloud Shell. We have to enable unified audit logging. But nowadays it is automatically turned on by default in Microsoft 365 organization. So, however, when setting up a new Microsoft 365 organization, you should begin by verifying the auditing status for your organization. So, even if it is by default, it is turned on. As an administrator, it is your duty to verify it whether it is turned on or not, because this is a platform where unified audit logging is possible. All right. This is all about unified audit logging. What is unified audit logging? What all advantages we have? And some features about audit log. Now we will practically see this in the portal. We are in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Here, if you console, we have a compliance portal. On that, that will take us to Microsoft Purview page. And here under solutions, here in the left hand side blade, here under solution you have auditing. So here, if it looks like this, you can understand that this is enabled by default. Okay, in some cases this audit logging may not be enabled, so it will show a ribbon like a blue color ribbon will show like this, and it will be saying you that start recording user and admin activities. So you have to click here and start the recording activities for user and admin activities. As I told you, by default it will be enabled in the organization nowadays. So that will look like this. So here you can mention the date and time, the auditing you required. So for example, if you want from September 1st till date, you can select the date and time range. And if you want to specify one particular user activities, that you can mention it here. For example, uh, we have a user called Murali. If you want to specifically see some activities what this particular user has done, here you can do it. Right. So let me just search it. So now it is in progress. It may take some time to generate all the reports related to that particular user. Let's wait. As I told you, this is unified audit logging where you can track and record usage and admin activities across various services and applications such as Exchange Online, SharePoint Online, OneDrive, Teams, Power BI, and Microsoft Android. So here we have searched all the details about one particular user called Murali, and that particular search has completed. So now let's see what data we have here. And as it's a test environment, we do not have much data performed, oh my god, for this particular user. So I have searched same thing with some other user here, which between one day. So for my ID, if you check it, you could see all the detail, all the activities that I did it in different, that particular user had did it in different applications and across various services. He has logged into Teams, Exchange items, some aggregation he has done it, then Azure Active Directory, uh, system logon he has done, and only these activities, as it's a test environment, we get only very few activities related to this particular user. If it was in a production environment and we are searching activities of one particular user, you will get all the activities of that particular user that he has conducted in different applications and services like Exchange Online, SharePoint, Teams, all the applications and services. So that is a brief idea about audit search. What you can, as I told you, what you can do, you can create a tenant and and explore all these options which Microsoft offers to us. All right. So that was all about enable unified audit logging in Microsoft 365. So after that, we have complete your tenant configuration Microsoft 365. Let me click on that. So what at the end of this session, what they say, you have to create as an administrator, you have to create a checklist and follow that checklist and make sure we have completed all the tasks related to tenant configuration first before we move to anything else in the Microsoft 365. In an organization, Microsoft 365 administrator is typically responsible for creating and managing all the company's Microsoft 365 user accounts. So as an administrator, you will have to create the user account. You are responsible for to create the user accounts. So this particular module, which I name it as chapter 2 of module 1, we focus on manage usage, license, guest, and contact in Microsoft 365. This process include these 3 points like creating and managing user accounts, assigning Microsoft 365 license to users, recovering deleted user account. Today, we are focusing on creating and managing user accounts. First thing, determine the user identity model for your organization. There are 3 different user identity model in Microsoft 365. To plan user identities, you must first understand the different types of Microsoft 365 user identities, namely like cloud identity, synchronized identity, and federated identities. An organization can choose to maintain identities only in Microsoft 365. This is called cloud identity. Or you can choose your on-premise that sync to Microsoft 365. This is called synchronized identity, and or you can third one, which is federated identity. So we will talk about these 3 right now. Let's talk about the cloud identity, which is the first identity model, which is Microsoft 365 cloud identity, 0 on-premises servers. First, let us discuss about Microsoft 365 cloud identity. A cloud identity is a user account that only exists in Microsoft Entra ID. While an organization can create cloud identity with the same name as on-premise Active Directory domain services user account, there is not any link between these 2 accounts, which means you can have separate local Active Directory. You can create usage there with the same usage you can create in Microsoft 365 cloud identity, and you can create the same uh, user in local Active Directory, but both will be different. There is no link between these 2 accounts. So that is what meant by cloud identity. So all the users are in cloud. There is 0 on-premise servers. Now comes the other one, which is Microsoft 365 synchronized identity. A synchronized identity is a user that exists in on-premise AD, which means it actually exists in local Active Directory and in Microsoft 365. It exists both in on-premise and Microsoft 365. The system synchronized and linked together the ADDS user and Microsoft 365 user. The system then synchronizes any changes that you later make in on-premise user account to the Microsoft 365 user account. So this is actually done through Azure AD Connect. Nowadays it is known as Microsoft Entra Cloud Sync. So through this application that stands in between your local Active Directory and your Microsoft 365 identity about Azure AD Connect. Earlier days it was known as Azure AD Connect. Now it is called Microsoft Entra Cloud Sync. About this, I have already done a video in my channel. You can watch it in. I can put it in the description. You can watch that, how to install and configure this Azure AD Connect or Microsoft Entra Cloud Sync. The latest version, how to sync, what all configuration it is there in that. That all I have done a video, so you can watch that from the description. I can add the link in the description. You can watch it from there. All right, let's move on. So now comes the third one, which is federated identity. A federated identity refers to an identity that an external identity provider. So it can be any identity provider, which is a third-party identity provider, When a user attempt to access federated services such as Microsoft 365 or Microsoft Entra ID, redirect the authentication request to designed trusted external identity provider. The external identity provider is referred to as a trusted because it has a mutual understanding and agreement with Microsoft 365 or Microsoft Entra ID regarding the authentication and authorization process for federated identities. So what we have to understand here, as I told you, there are three different type of identity models. All right, let's move on. Now we are going to compare all the three, like cloud identity, synchronized identity, and federated identity. What are the advantages? Cloud identity user account only exists in Microsoft 365. There is no account in on-premise. When it comes to synchronized identity, user account exists in local Active Directory and identical user in exists in Microsoft 365. So whatever identity we have in the local Active Directory, that gets synchronized to the Microsoft 365. When it comes to federated identity, synchronize a user account authenticated by using ADFS, which means it's a third-party synchronization method. You can use it and you can integrate. Best for small cloud identity. It is best for small to medium-sized organization or organization that do not need local Active Directory domain services anymore. So such environments, if it is a very small organization and it doesn't require local Active Directory, then you can choose cloud identity. If your organization running on-premise local directory already are using planning to move to the cloud, then you can use synchronized identity. And if your organization is too big and you have got a lot of authentication mechanism in BTV in the on-premise, then in such scenario you can use synchronized identity. Organization that want to centralize their authentication and authorization processes, organization that run federated authentication systems and require special type of signing such as an ID card, also use this model. Then comes greatest benefit: simple to use, no extra tool required. But when it comes to synchronized identity, same sign in and where organization must manage identity in only one place. When it comes to federated identity, single sign on and where organization must manage identities in only one place. All right. So that is all about best model for your organization. Now let's discuss about create user accounts in Microsoft 365. So depending on the organization needs, it can use the following methods to provision the user account. First one, Microsoft 365 Admin Center. This is a portal, provides a simple web interface for individually creating and managing users, their licenses and permissions. So from the Microsoft 365 admin, you can create the user or import multiple users. This option provide method for bulk import that can be done even from the Microsoft 365 admin center. Then you can create the user from Windows PowerShell. You can use CMD-let based or script-based interface to create and manage single and multiple users. Directory synchronization is nothing but to synchronize your local Active Directory to Microsoft 365. So users are synced to Microsoft 365. All right. So now let's practically see how you can create a user from the portal and how you can create bulk user from the portal. All right. All right. Now let's create a user from Microsoft 365 Admin Center. In the left hand side navigation, let's select users and select active users. Here you could see all the active users for this particular organization. Let's click on add user and give the name to that user. For example, I'm giving the name as John. Give the last one name, I give it as Paul. So it has selected the name as John Paul, and the username I select is it, and the username I select as John Paul at this is my domain. We have two options here: automatically create a password, or you can click next, select the location. If it is India, you select it India, or some other country, then you provide it accordingly. If you want to allocate the license for that user, you can do it here, or you can mention create user without that license. Click next. If you want to provide any administrator role, you can give it here, like exchange administrator, global administrator, global reader, or any specific administrator privilege to be given. You can give it from here. Click on next, finish adding. So in this way, you can create a user from the 365 admin center. And if you want to create users in bulk, what you can do, you can click on add multiple user. Here up to 249 user, you can enter it and create it. Or what you can do, you can upload a CSV file. The example format, you get it from here. Or you can download this example format, and whatever example is given in the same format, if you enter all your user first name, last name, and username, and the domain name, all those details you provide it there, upload it from here, click next, and finish. You can create multiple uses in bulk. So this way you can create uses in bulk. In Microsoft 365 Admin Center, under Teams and Groups, you could see different types of groups here. Teams and Microsoft 365 groups, distribution list groups, security groups. If you go to Exchange Online, under recipient, you could see Microsoft 365 group, distribution list groups, dynamic distribution list group, and mail enabled security groups. My intention in this video to explain the difference between all these groups, and other things we will discuss in the other video. From the groups, we could find that Microsoft 365 group and distribution list. So first let us try to understand the difference between Microsoft 365 group and distribution list. These are the two main groups in Microsoft 365. So first let us understand the difference between Microsoft 365 group and distribution list. Distribution list is also known as distribution group. So I have created a PowerPoint for this. So let us try to understand this with the help of this PowerPoint presentation. First, let us understand what is distribution group. Distribution group is also known as distribution list. So it acts solemnly as a mailing list. When an email sent to a distribution group address, it forwarded to all members' personal mailboxes. For example, this particular user is sending mail to sales team at joyroute-jojo.com. So what happened? Whoever member of this particular distribution group, which is in the name of sales team at joyroute-jojo.com, who all these people are member of this particular distribution group. So they get a copy of this mail into their personal mailbox. So what you have to understand, there is no shared inbox where members can collectively view and manage or respond to emails. So it acts just like a distribution list. When a user send an email to this particular distribution group, which is sales team at joyroute-jojo.com, all the members, these are the members of this particular distribution group, so all of them get a copy of that mail in their mailbox. They do not have a common shared mailbox, shared inbox, where members can collectively view and manage or respond to email. But in the case of Microsoft 365 group, what happens? Microsoft 365 groups comes with a shared mailbox that all group members can access. So in this case, all these users has got a shared mailbox, and all of them can access this shared mailbox. They may have a separate mailbox, and storage space is allocated. All addition to their inbox, into their personal mailbox, they get some shared mailbox. In the case of Microsoft 365 group, this mailbox allow members to send and receive mail from common email address. So all of them can send and mail through sales team at joyroute-jojo.com. All members of the group can view the shared mailbox. So all these members can view the shared mailbox and access emails within it. So when they are member of this group, in their inbox itself, this group will be automatically added as a separate inbox, and all of them can send and receive mail on behalf of this particular group. This option is not available with distribution groups. Distribution group does not have a shared mailbox. It get copy to their own individual mailbox. In addition to this shared mailbox, Microsoft 365 groups provide a shared calendar. OneDrive space, and SharePoint site for document storage and collaboration. Members can communicate via Microsoft Teams, share files, and collaborate on documents in real time. So all these are the benefits of Microsoft 365 group. So this is the major difference between distribution group and Microsoft 365 group. All right. Now we got the difference between Teams and Microsoft 365 groups and distribution list. Same you can see here in the Exchange Admin Center also. Microsoft 365 and distribution list. Distribution list is also known as distribution groups. Now here you could see the other group called security group, and here something called mail enabled security groups. So let us discuss about security groups now. Security groups provides a convenient way to manage and assign permission to multiple users simultaneously. So a security group can grant access permission to resources such as OneDrive and SharePoint. So to grant access only for the permission purpose, we use security groups. You can create a security group and provide permission. When to use these security groups? When you only require a group to grant permissions. In such scenarios, you can use security groups. So what is the difference between security groups and mail-enabled security groups? When you mail-enabled security group, it means the group has an associated email address and members of the group can send and receive email using that address. So along with the security group, a mailbox is attached. A mailbox is enabled but with that security group so that it got a mail address and you can send and receive mail through that security group. That is what meant by mail enabled security group. This design enabled the group to function as a mailing list and or distribution group. It is again act like a distribution group. You know the difference between distribution list or Microsoft 365, which means it does not have a common mailbox. Mail enabled security group enables the group to function as a mailing list or a distribution group, which means it does not have a common mailbox. Instead of that, it send the mail to their individual mailbox. So all their members in this mail enabled security group will receive a copy of that mail into their individual mailbox. So this is what mail enabled security group. When we use this mail enabled security group, when you want to use the group for both permission and mail distribution, in such scenario you want to use some group for both for the permission and mail distribution. In such scenario we use mail enabled security group. Now we miss only one thing, which is dynamic distribution list. See, dynamic distribution list and distribution list or distribution group all are same, but the difference between distribution list and dynamic distribution list is that a dynamic distribution group automatically manage its membership based on predefined criteria or filters. In a traditional distribution group, users manually manage membership, which means in this distribution list, users manually manage the membership. In a dynamic distribution list or distribution group, Microsoft 365 dynamically update its members list based on specific attributes or condition. Through PowerShell, you can mention some condition. If the user belongs to HR department, then let everyone be member of HR at Joyroute-jojo.com, that particular group. In that way, you can create some condition and automatically add the members to dynamic distribution list. This is the difference between distribution group and dynamic distribution group. And when to use this dynamic distribution list or when to use this dynamic distribution group? When you want to have a flexible distribution list that changes membership automatically. In such scenario, you can select dynamic distribution list. This you can create only from Exchange Admin Center. You cannot create Exchange dynamic distribution list from Microsoft 365 Admin Center. You can do it only from Exchange Admin Center. Now, hope you are clear with the difference of all these groups in Microsoft 365. Distribution list, security groups, Microsoft 365 group, mail enabled security group, and distribution list. So we have discussed about all the groups and the difference between all these groups. Now let us create some group. Let us create some Microsoft 365 group. We can create either it from the Exchange Admin Center. Here it is in the name of Teams and Microsoft 365 group, or you can create it from Exchange Admin Center. So let me create it from here. Teams and Microsoft 365 group. Add a Microsoft 365 group. I'm naming the group. Let me name it as just Microsoft 365 group. And the name description also I provide the same. Click on next. We should assign an owner for this group. I add myself as a owner to this group. All right. So it has got some team status also. That is why it shows the team symbol here. Click on next, and we are adding the members to the Microsoft 365 group. I have added five members. Click next, and here we have to create a mail address for this group. So I create test M365 at guardianvilla.com. You can set the privacy. Public group can be joined by everyone without getting approval from the group owner. Anyone can access the group content. Private groups are not open for everyone to join them. A group owner are the ones that can add members to them. Only members can access the group content. Let us create it as a private group. If we are creating teams for this group, then this option is grayed out. Let me click on next, and you can create a group. So it when you create a group, it got its own mailbox. It create a shared mailbox and shared resources. When you create a Microsoft 365 group, which means when we create this particular group, it consists of following object: a shared Outlook inbox, a shared calendar, a SharePoint team site, a SharePoint document library, planner, Power BI, Yammer, a team, a roadmap. So all these will be part of this particular Microsoft 365 group. And the collaboration spaces for Microsoft 365 groups differ based on where Microsoft 365 group is created. Now we will discuss about how we can delete a group from Microsoft 365. Delete a group, you have to log into Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Here under Teams and Group, you have active teams and groups. So here we had created a Microsoft 365 group in the name of just Microsoft 365 group. So we are going to delete this. You can select this, and here we have an option to delete this group. When we delete this group, all data associated with it will be deleted, including team email conversation, team notebook, documents stored in the team files, and the team calendar. Consider copying, saving any data you would like to keep. You can restore deleted and their data up to 30 days after you delete them. This is the message we get it. I'm going to delete the Microsoft 365 group. So let me click on delete. So 365 group was deleted. Now the deleted group is no more part of Microsoft 365 group. And if you go here under teams and group, we have something called deleted group. So let me navigate to there. And here you could see the deleted group. And this will be available here for the 30 days. So according to Microsoft 365, we call it as soft delete, because you can still restore the group during that time. After 30 days, the system permanently deletes the Microsoft 365 group and its associated contents. Alright, we have an option to restore the group. We can restore the group from here. So when we restore, what exactly happened to a Microsoft 365 group? When you restore a Microsoft 365 group, system automatically restore the following content associated with the group. We will just restore and check it out. I'm going to restore the group. restoring deleted group. The group has been restored. So it will be available here under teams and groups now, active teams and groups now. All right. So this is again has come back to the same. So let me just select this and let me just go to the membership. He is the owner and all the members are still be part of that group. That's what meant by here. Microsoft 365 groups object, properties and members in Microsoft 365 Entra ID still be available in that group. All right. Then group email addresses. So here we have a group email address. We'll see that. See, this is the group email address which we created. So this is still available. And Exchange Online, shared inbox and calendar, shared online team sites and files, OneNote notebook, and teams, Yammer group and groups contented, uh, Yammer group and group content, Power BI and classic workspace. All this will be available with Microsoft 365 group. So I just want to show you that. So with that, we have completed this particular module, which is manage groups in Microsoft 360. How to add custom domain in Microsoft 365. I have logged into Microsoft 365 Admin Center. In the left hand side blade, you could see settings and domain. Click on domain, and here you have the option to add custom domain to Microsoft 365. In my Microsoft 365 Admin Center, you could see certain domains over here. And you could see a custom domain here, and this is the default domain. This is default domain that created Microsoft itself when we created the tenant name. The tenant name will be always on microsoft.com. So this is the tenant name and it is created by Microsoft itself. Before adding a custom domain, we need to plan the custom domain for your Microsoft 365 deployment. There are several factors an organization must consider when planning to add custom domain to Microsoft 365. These factors can differ with Microsoft 365 subscription it select. So what are those factors? The first thing, multiple domains. You can add multiple domains into Microsoft 365 Admin Center. An organization should plan to add the main domain that it is currently uses. For example, datum.com, this is my main domain. So I'm going to add this first. It should also add any other domain that it uses for email messages within the organization. For example, I'm also have condoso.com. So this domain also I can add there. This scenario is common when overall company is a business group. The other factor which we have to consider is subdomains. An organization may want to register subdomains. Microsoft 365 Business Premium and Enterprise Plan enable subdomains to be added under the root domain. For example, londoncollege.com. This is my root domain. All right. So under this root domain, I can create subdomains. Subdomains also should be registered with public DNS. We should be purchased and we should have a subdomain from the domain providers. So this is my main domain and I'm going to have a subdomain in the name of londoncollege.com or the other name students.londoncollege.com. You can have subdomains. So an organization may want to register subdomains. Microsoft 365 Business Premium Enterprise Plan enables subdomains to be added under the root domain. So our root domain is londoncollege.com and teacher.londoncollege.com is the subdomain. All right. Now domain numbers. Here you can add up to 900 domains in Microsoft 365. Microsoft 365 support you to add register up to 900 domains with Microsoft 365. And domain adding order, that is the other factor. Root domain must be added before subdomains, which means londoncollege.co must be added first. Only then you should add teacher.londoncollege.com, students.londoncollege.com, all the subdomains. And there are many other factors that to be considered while adding a custom domain to Microsoft 365. These are the main factors that should be considered first. So let us practically try to add a domain to Microsoft 365 Admin Center. For that, let me click on Add a Domain here. It is asking me for the domain name. I'm giving the domain name here as Joyroute-jojo. So how to add the domain? They have provided a video here that you can watch that video if you want. You have to purchase this domain from any domain providers. You can purchase it either from GoDaddy, Namecheap, Google Domains, Bluehost, Domain.com, Hover, Cloudflare, Registarer. So all these are the common or the famous domain providers. You can purchase it from any of these. So normally we use GoDaddy. So I consider I have purchased this from GoDaddy. So how to register this? We have to add some records to in the public domain provider from the public DNS record. For example, GoDaddy, you have to add it. So let us see how we can add that. All right. So I'm just clicking on use this domain. It should have .com. All right. Let me click on use this domain. So it is asking me to add some txt record to the domain DNS record. All right. So how we can add that? For that, what you have to do, you have to go to GoDaddy. This is the GoDaddy site. And under GoDaddy, here you have to select DNS, and under DNS record, add a new record. And here you can add a TXT record. So consider I'm going to add a TXT record. Let me click on continue. And TXT record name is given here, value is given. As you can see in the screenshot, we have to give the name, value, and TTL value. We have to give the TXT value and TTL. So all these three items we have to provide even in the DNS record. After providing this, you can verify. We have to click on verify. Microsoft 365 will verify with public DNS. Apart from TXT, we have to add several other records with public DNS provider. So what are those records? Let us discuss what are the essential DNS record for Microsoft 365. All right. The first one is nothing but TXT record. Why we required this TXT record? The purpose is used for domain verification and email security. That is the purpose of TXT record. Microsoft 365 asks you to add TXT record to confirm ownership of your domain. You are registering your ownership. So the second benefit of adding TXT record is for SPF, Sender Policy Framework, which helps prevent email spoofing by specifying which mail servers are authorized to send emails from your domain. So we are specifying the mail server which are authorized to send emails for your domain so that we can avoid email spoofing. So for these two purposes, we use TXT record to our ownership to prevent email spoofing. So while adding this TXT record in the public DNS, even in the GoDaddy, we can prove our ownership. We can prevent email spoofing. All right. And the second record is nothing but MS record. Purpose of MS record is to direct email to correct server responsible for receiving emails for your domain. The other important record is SPF record, Sender Policy Framework. As I told you just before, it is part of TXT record. SPF specifies the IP address and the domain authorized to send emails on behalf of your domain. SPF record prevent email spoofing. So the another essential DNS record is nothing but CNAME record. The purpose of CNAME record is that it maps an alias name to true domain name, which is useful for directing traffic to Microsoft 365 services, often used to redirect traffic to specific services. For example, you might add CNAME records for the service like Auto Discover for Exchange Online, or Enterprise Registration and Enterprise Enrollment for device management. For all this purpose, you can use CNAME. The other record is nothing but SRV record. This defines the location, host name and port of servers for specific services. If you consider its usage, used to primarily for Skype for Business or Microsoft Teams, it helps Microsoft 365 clients to discover services like instant messaging and other Microsoft 365 communication tools. So that is the purpose of SRV record. So we have to add these records in GoDaddy or any other public DNS providers. Only then our domain get healthy. As you can see here, this particular domain shows us healthy, which means all the records are properly provided in GoDaddy or in the public DNS provider. Thanks for watching this video. If you have any questions or suggestions, please mark it in the comment section.
To manage security in Microsoft 365, we have to go to admin center and we have to go to security admin center, which is Microsoft Defender. In this portal, we manage security related aspects in Microsoft 365. All right. So this module examines the email security feature provided by Microsoft Exchange Online Protection, which is known as EOP. EOP is a cloud-based email filtering service included in Microsoft 365 suite. EOP is a cloud-based email filtering service included in Microsoft 365 suite. It serves as a foundational and base level of email security within Microsoft 365 environment. It's a base level and foundational email security within Microsoft 365 environment, which is called Microsoft Exchange Online Email Protection. Exchange Online Protection, EOP. EOP is a instrumental in protecting organization from phishing, spoofing, spam, malware. EOP provides email security through the combination of techniques including IP and sender reputation, heuristics, spam filtering, malware filtering, machine learning, filtering or phishing and spoofing. So with all these multiple combination of the techniques, they provide email security. So while EOP provides a solid foundation for email security, organizations with more advanced needs can enhance their protection by incorporating additional security features and services such as those offered by Microsoft Defender for Office 365. EOP or Microsoft Exchange Online Protection provides us a base level protection or foundation level protection. If you want some additional level protection or advanced protection, then we can go with Microsoft Defender for Office 365. Together, EOP and Microsoft Defender for Office 365 provides a complete solution for protecting users against cyber threats originating in emails. So this particular module reviewing the capabilities of EOP, Exchange Online Protection. Implement anti-malware policies. So if you log into Microsoft Defender portal, here under email and collaboration, under policies and rules, if you click on that, we have here set policies. Here you could see some anti-phishing policies, anti-spam policies, anti-malware policies. First, let us see about anti-malware. Protect your organization email from malware, including what action to take and who to notify if malware is detected. That is what this particular policy does. So let me click on anti-malware policy. Here you could see and default policy and it is always on. Organization cannot disable this anti-malware scanning. Exchange Online Protection use multiple anti-malware engines. This design enables to offer multi-layered protection to catch all non-malware. The EOP services scan messages for malware. If EOP detects a malware, it deletes the messages. EOP might also send notification to the senders or administrators. It deletes an infected message. EOP automatically protects email messages against malware. EOP uses anti-malware policies, which this anti-malware policy for malware protection settings. Microsoft 365 comes with default anti-malware policy. This is the default anti-malware policy that comes automatically with Microsoft 365. Admin can view this, edit this, and configure, but not to delete. There is an option to delete, but you will not be able to delete the default policy. For a better performance, we can also create a custom anti-malware policy. As you can see here you have the option to create custom anti-malware policies that apply for a specific usage groups or domains in their organization. That we can create a custom anti-malware policy and apply to specific usage group or domains. Custom policies always take precedence over default policy. So if we have a default policy and custom policy always take precedence over default policy. However, an organization can change the priority of its custom policies. We will understand how the anti-malware pipeline works. So for the better understanding, I have created a PPT here. So let us try to understand this through the help of the PPT. Organizations that host mailboxes in Exchange Online rely on Exchange Online protection to protect incoming and outgoing mail. When an organization joins to Microsoft 365, when this organization joins to Microsoft 365, an administrator must specify MX and TXT record to their domain name in DNS. As you can see here, when this organization joined to Microsoft 365, administrator has to add records in public DNS, MX record and TXT record. The MX record ensures that email sent to the tenant's domain arrives in the mailbox hosted in the Exchange Online to EOP services. So that is what MX record does. Sender Protection Framework, SPF record, is a special type of TXT record in DNS. It identifies a host as a valid sender for the organization domain. The system catches sizable amount of spam and bulk email at the first entry point in Microsoft 365. So before even EOP comes into play, Microsoft in the entry level itself catches sizable amount of spam and bulk emails in the first entry point in Microsoft 365. So for this, Microsoft use the technique of IP center reputation heuristics. So these techniques combined with all this technology, it identifies sizable amount of spam and bulk email. Once mail passes through the first entry to the Microsoft 365, multiple signature-based antivirus scanners scan the message. This process, which is multiple signature-based antivirus scanners, this itself catching up to 80% of the commodity malware coming into the network. Once email reaches to the Microsoft 365 network, EOP scans. Then the EOP comes in picture. EOP scans individual files using a technique called reputation block. With the reputation block, EOP compares file attachment with the results of scans that Microsoft 365 previously completed. EOP then checks to see if there are specific files or piece of files that previously identified as malicious. If so, EOP checks whether the files or pieces of files appears to match something in as coming messages. EOP provides a foundational level or basic level protection to Microsoft 365. So the organization that enables Microsoft Defender for Office 365 in their tenant get extend protection of EOP. Microsoft Defender for Office 365 provides this extra protection by scanning emails that made it through the filters that technique described earlier. All right, now we go back to the anti-malware policy. We are going to create a custom anti-malware policy. I click on create and I name it like a test policy, and I provide the description the same like test policy. We click on next, and here we have to give either some usage groups and domains. So I provide my domain here. So I apply this custom policy for my complete domain. Click on next. Here under protection settings, you could see some enable common attachment field. There are certain types of files that you really shouldn't send through email. Normally, we should not send files related to .se, .apk, .app, .apx, and all these 43 file types. Instead of scanning these files, what we can do, we can completely block these files. So reject the messages with non-delivery receipt. So that comes under protection settings. Enable the common attachment filters. These files normally we should not be sent through email. And here we have an option to enable 0-hour auto purge for malware. If you select this option, SAP quarantines previously delivered malware messages. We can enable this, and here we have the option to notify. You notify the admin about undelivered messages from internal senders, notify admin about undelivered messages from external sender, and customized notification. All the options are available here. And under quarantine policy, we have admin only access policy. We have a default full access policy and default full access with the notification policy. So default full access policy, this policy grants full access to the quarantine. When malware is detected, it automatically moves to the quarantine without any other notification or restrictions. Essentially, it is silent process where no alerts are generated. So that is what default full access policy. We have admin only access policy. As the name implies, only administrators have access to the quarantine. As such, when malware is detected in the messages in regular end users, the messages are placed in quarantine. But the recipients do not have visibility or control over them. Only administrator can review and manage the quarantined items. So that is what meant by admin only access policy. And we have one more policy, default full access with a notification policy. This policy combines aspects of both previous options. When malware is detected, it moves to the quarantine, but users receive a notification about the action. Administrator can still manage quarantine and users are informed of the event. So that is what done by default full access notification policy. So you can select according to that. All right, let's click on next. And here you have the option to review and submit it. So you can create a custom policy now.
Climb the security ladder from Exchange Online Protection to Microsoft Defender for Office 365. Every Microsoft 365 subscription comes with security capabilities. Each subscription in Microsoft 365 has some security capabilities. In Office 365 security, there are three main cloud-based security services or products that are tied to your subscription type. So these are the three main cloud-based security services. The first one, Exchange Online Protection, EOP, and the second one is Defender for Office 365 Plan 1, and the third one, Defender for Office 365 Plan 2. So these are the three main cloud-based security services. All right. Office 365 security builds on the core protection offered by Exchange Online Protection. This is the core protection that offered by Microsoft 365. EOP is present in any subscription where Exchange Online mailboxes exist. All right, so let's move on. So the following table provides a common summarization of these three cloud-based security products. First one, EOP, Exchange Online Protection. So what Exchange Online Protection does? It prevents broad and volume-based non-attacks. So this is the word that to be noted. It works on non-attacks. Exchange Online Protection mainly work on, it prevents broad and volume-based non-attacks. If the attacks is new, it is unknown, Exchange Online Protection may not work properly on those attacks. All right. So when it comes to Microsoft Defender for Office 365 Plan 1, it protects email and collaboration from zero-day malware. What is this zero-day malware? One second. Zero-day malware refers to a malicious software that exploits a zero-day vulnerability or software flow for security weakness that is unknown to the software developer or the public, which means when we talk about zero day malware means this is unknown attack. This is new to the developers, new to the public, because the vulnerability is undiscovered. What could be the vulnerability that is unknown to everyone? It is undiscovered. Unknown vulnerability, high risk, no available defense. This is the key points of zero day malware. If it is a zero day malware, vulnerability is unknown to us, no available defense is available as of now, high risk. So this is what meant by zero day malware. So what Microsoft Defender for Office 365 does, it protects email and collaboration from zero day malware, phish, and business email compromise. So this is working on, this will support us even from the unknown malware, unknown attacks. So that is what Defender for Office 365 Plan 1 does. When we move to Microsoft Defender for 365 Plan 2, it provides Exchange Online Protection plus Defender for whatever part of Defender for Office 365 Plan 1. Both these we will get it. Along with that, in addition to that, it gives us adds post breach investigation, hunting and response, as well as automation and simulation for training. So this is an additional thing that we get it in the Defender for Office 365 Plan 2. So this is a brief summarization. We will see it in detail right now. All right. So let us start from Exchange Online Protection. The first one, which is Exchange Online Protection. So it serves as a Exchange Online Protection serve as a foundational or base level email security within Microsoft 365 environment, and it is present in any subscription where Exchange Online Mailbox is exist. Wherever Exchange Online Mailbox is present, EOP is present there. What exactly EOP does? It prevent and detect technologies included for spam. It prevent the spam, detect the spam, it detect the phishing mails, malware, bulky mail, spoof intelligence, impersonation detection, admin quarantine. So all these are prevented and detected on Exchange Online Protection. And Exchange Online Protection gives us some investigation tools like audit log search and message trace. If you search the message trace, we'll come to know what exactly from where this mail has the source of the mail and the destination of the mail, in between what happened to that mail. All that message tracing we can investigation we can does it in Exchange Online Protection through message trace and even through audit log search. And how we can respond. 0-hour auto purge. What is 0-hour auto purge? We have discussed in the previous video. If you have not watched, I request you to please watch my previous video. I have detailedly mentioned what is 0-hour auto purge. For your understanding, I can brief it like, see what 0-hour auto purge will do. The mail that have already reached your mailbox, 0-hour auto purge will scan that, and if it find it some suspicious mail, then it takes some action, either to move to quarantine, or it delete, it move to junk file, junk email. The action will be depends um, upon the mail and the policy that you have written in the Microsoft 365 environment. All right. So that's all about 0-hour auto purge. Then refinement and testing, allow list and block list. So this way we can respond on Exchange Online Protection. Okay, all right, let's move on to the next one, which is Microsoft Defender for Office 365 Plan 1. So this is the another security capabilities, security services that Microsoft 365 offers to us. It comes with the higher level of subscription like E3 or E5, or you can separately purchase this Defender for Office Plan 1. So as per the document, it says you have EOP, Exchange Online Protection, if you have any lower tiered plans of Office 365 up through Office 365 E3. However, you can also buy standalone Microsoft. When it comes to Office 365 E3, we get Office 365 Plan 1. And you can also buy standalone Microsoft Defender for Office 365 P1 through upgrade. If you have Office 365 E5, you already have Microsoft Defender for Office 365 Plan 2. Again, it's a different topic. That's a complicated topic. We will not be discussing that right now. But for the general purpose, Plan 2, we get it through, if we have E5 license, M365 E5 license, then through E5 license, Plan 2 we get it, and Plan 1 we get it through E3 license. This is generally, we can say so, but again it vary upon the license to license, subscription to subscription. That as I told you, we will not be discussing right now. So let us discuss about what Microsoft Defender for Office 365 Plan 1 offers to us. It provides all the technologies included in Exchange Online Protection. Whatever we have discussed just now, all that included in the EOP, we get it in the Defender for Office 365 Plan 1. Apart from that, it provides us safe attachment, safe link, Defender for Office 365 protection for workloads, time of click protection in email, anti-phishing Defender for Office 365. So all these we get it additionally on the Office 365 Plan 1. All right. And for the investigation, we get different tool. We get SIM integration API for detection, real-time detection tool, we get it, URL trace, we get it in for the investigation in Office 365 Plan 1. In the coming videos, we will be doing the practical of Defender for Office 365. We will be creating safe attachments, safe links, policies, and all. So that we will see in the coming videos. All right. So let's move on. So when we talk about Microsoft Defender for Office 365 Plan 2, it gets whatever provided in the EOP, we get it. Apart from that, we get it what is given in the Plan 1, plus we get some. So prevent and detects whatever we have in the EOP and Plan 1, everything is same in Plan 2 also. In addition to that, we get some investigation tool like Threat Explorer, Threat Tracker, Campaign Views. So this is, we get it additionally. Even response also, we get some additional tools like automated investigation and response, AIR from Threat Explorer, AIR for compromised users, SIM integration API for automated investigation. So these two part we get it additionally. Prevent and detect, it is almost same as 365 Plan 1. All right. So this is an overall idea about all the three security, cloud-based security services. So this is what we get it extra in Defender for Office 365 Plan 2. When we compare Plan 1 and Plan 2, we get these things like investigation and response side in the house. We get additional some tools in P2. It also adds new hunting strength for automation. So that is what we get extra in P2. The primary hunting tool is called Threat Explorer rather than real-time detection. Threat Explorer, when you navigate to the Microsoft Defender portal, you are in Microsoft Defender for Office 365 P2, which means we get some additional hunting tools in P2. So that's what it's all about. So it says the difference between P1 and P2. The same thing what we have discussed as of now, the same it is discussing here in the whole topic. It says the same thing. So whatever we have in the Plan 1, we get in the Plan 2. Apart from that, we get some automation, investigation, remediation, and education capabilities. Like for the investigation, we get Threat Explorer, Threat Trackers, Threat Explorers, and some automated investigation response. We get it. Attack simulation training, we can provide it in the Plan 2. So this is the difference between Plan 1 and Plan 2. Before we discuss preset security policies, we will just recap whatever we have learned about security. and cloud-based security services that Microsoft offers to us. See, there are mainly three cloud-based security services are there. First one is Exchange Online Protection, and the other two are Defender for Office 365 Plan 1 and Plan 2. So these three are the main cloud-based security services. In among these three, Exchange Online Protection. The core protection of Office 365 is based on EOP, and EOP represent the any subscription where Exchange Online mailbox exists, which means if whatever subscription you have, this is the fundamental. EOP is the fundamental security service that of Microsoft 365 offered to us. Defender for Office 365 Plan 1 and Plan 2 are advanced level of security. Apart from the fundamental, if you required some uh, advanced level of security, you can go with Defender for Office 365 Plan 1 and Plan 2. In the security.microsoft.com, this is the Defender, Microsoft Defender portal. In the portal, under policies and rules, threat policies, you could see preset security policies. So before moving to that, let me just explain about anti-phishing, anti-spam, and anti-malware. These three are the policies that we get as part of Exchange Online Protection. So as I told you, Exchange Online Protection is the fundamental and core protection that offered by Office 365. So anti-phishing, anti-spam, anti-malware, these three is part of EOP. Safe attachment and safe links are part of Defender for Office 365 Plan 1 and Plan 2. This is the basic idea about security services that Microsoft offers to us. All right, now let's move on. Preset security policies. And let me tell you one more thing. Even if it is anti-spam, anti-phishing, or anti-malware, every organization has built-in anti-spam policy named default that has the following properties. So this is not only applicable for anti-spam, this is applicable for anti-malware, anti-phishing, and even for safe attachment and safe link. There are some default policy for all these five. It has got the following properties. This policy, which is default policy, you cannot delete the default policy. These default policies, whichever shows here, you cannot delete this default policy. This policy is automatically applied to all recipient in the organization and you cannot turn it off. All these default policies cannot be turned off, and this is applicable to all the recipient in our organization. This policy is always applied last. So priority value is least for this. If you have some customized policy or if you have applied some preset security policies, that will take precedence on default policies. This policy is always applied last. The priority value is lowest and you cannot change it. The higher precedence is always for the customized policies and preset security policies. Now let us discuss about preset security policies. First of all, let us understand what is preset security policies. We could say that preset security policies in Microsoft 365 are predefined security configuration, something predefined and provided by Microsoft to help organization to quickly implement recommended security settings for protecting against email threats like phishing, malware, and spam. These are the recommended settings and the predefined security configuration that Microsoft provide all the organization. So this is easy for us to implement it. Unless if you are not sure about the customized policy, how you have to create some customized policy, what should be included in that, then easy way is to go with preset security policies. So let's go with preset security policies. Here under preset security policy, we have three options. Standard protection, we have to select either standard protection or strict protection. So what is the difference between standard protection and strict protection? It has balanced action for malicious content, balanced handling for bulk content, attached and linked protection with safe links and safe attachment. When it comes to strict protection, it is more aggressive action on malicious mail, tighter controls over bulk sender, more aggressive on machine learning. So that is strict protection. All right. So that is the difference between standard protection and strict protection. So let us configure, first let us configure standard protection. We have to turn it on. Here, apply standard protection, apply exchange online protection. Let us keep it for all recipient, or you can specify some particular group if you want it. If you are not sure how it is going to behave in your environment, you can create a test group, and you can apply that to that particular test group. I'm going with all recipient. The same for Defender for Office 365 protection. You can go with all recipient, or you can specify the recipient group. Now when we come to impersonation protection, let's click on next. We have protect custom uses. This is normally we add all our board members or the VIP users here, so that if somebody is pretending to send a mail on behalf of those users, like the CEO of the company or the general manager of the company, on behalf of them, pretending that as a general manager of pretending as a general manager of your organization, if someone trying to send a mail, this will block that. So all the VIP users, you can add it here, and you can protect those users. So in my case, I'm not adding anybody. And the same here, add domains to flag when impersonation attacks. Here you can add your own domain, and all the suppliers and partners, you can add it here. The regular emails, the day-to-day activities, whomever you are send and receive the mail on day-to-day activities, you can add all that domain here. So if somebody is trying to pretend or impersonate by attackers, that will block here. Same for the trusted center and domain, you can add it here. Policy mode, I select as turn on policy when finished. Click next, review and confirm. All right, so the standard protection got enabled now. So if you check it out, it is standard protection is on. Now if you come back to the anti-phishing policy, here you could see a standard preset security policy, and it is on. So this has inherited from here. When we have enabled this preset security policies for the standard protection, this is it start reflecting on all these 5 policies. Even in the anti-spam policies also, you could see standard preset security policy. These 3 are the default policies, and this act as a uh, standard preset security policy. All right. Now let's go back again to the preset security policies, and we are going to enable strict protection. So consider if we have enabled both standard protection and strict protection. So the strict protection will take precedence. So whoever is member of strict protection, if consider one particular group is member of both standard protection and strict protection, in that case strict protection will take precedence over standard protection. All right. Here I am going to take a specified group. I don't have a group, so I select a user here. So here when what will happen, Abir is member of both standard protection and strict protection. So the precedence for the case of Abir's mailbox, strict protection will take care. So if you go back to these policies, you could see one more policy here, strict preset security policy. We have standard and strict. So that's it. What is 0-hour auto purge and how it works? 0-hour auto purge is an email protection feature in Exchange Online Protection, which is called EOP. I repeat, 0-hour auto purge is an email protection feature in Exchange Online Protection. It is retroactively detects and neutralize malicious phishing, spam, or malware messages the system already delivered in Exchange Online mailboxes. For example, consider this particular person has received a malicious or phishing or a spam or any malware message to his mailbox. All right. So what 0-hour auto purge will do, this will retroactively detect and neutralize malicious phishing, spam, or malware messages. It detects those messages post delivering to the mailbox, and the action to be taken. What action can be anything. It detects and move a message to the quarantine. It can be moved to the junk folder. It can be deleted. So the action will be taken. So that is what 0-hour auto purge actually does. All right. The other thing which we want to know is that SAP provides email protection in Microsoft 365 organization with mailboxes in Exchange Online. It provides protection only the mailboxes that is in Exchange Online, that is in Microsoft 365. SAP does not work in standalone EOP environment that protects on-premise Exchange mailbox. When we move on, EOP updates spam and malware signature on real time on daily basis. However, users can still receive malicious messages for various reasons. For example, if content weaponized after the system delivered to its users, ZAP addresses this issue by continuously monitoring updates to the spam and malware signature in the services. So in some reasons, even if EOP updates its spam signature, malware signature, so, and all that, even if EOP, Exchange Online Protection, does all that, even then we may receive some malware, some spam or phishing mails to our inbox. So what SAP does, it addresses this issue by continually monitoring updates to the spam, malware signature in the services. SAP or 0-hour protection can find and remove messages that are already in users' mailbox. The SAP action is seamless for users. The system does not notify if it detects and move a message. For example, a inbox has received a malware, but when the SAP 0-hour auto purge start acting, it detects that malware or spam in your inbox. Without notifying to the end user, it move a message. All right. So safe sender list, mailbox rules, inbox rules, or other filter take precedence over SAP. That we want to know that. See, if there is some safe sender list or some mail flow rules or some inbox rules or other filtered take precedence over SAP. So SAP has less precedence when we compare to mail flow rules, inbox rules, and other filter. So what we have to keep in mind, this process is similar to what happens in mail flow. For example, let us assume an organization configured a safe sender list. Even if EOP determines a delivered message from safe sender needs ZAP, it does not act on that message because the safe sender list take precedence over SAP. For this reason, organization should be careful about configuring messages to bypass filtering. For example, we may bypass certain mail from this particular domain, this particular person. So we have to be very careful when we configure that in our policies, because ZAP does not work, does not take precedence over there. All right. So this is an overall idea about what is 0-hour auto purge and how it works. Hope I am clear to you. Now let's move on. 0-hour auto purge for malware. How it works on malware. All right. If the system finds delivered message that contain malware, this is a consider this is a malware. If the system detects or system finds a delivered message that contains malware, SAP quarantine the messages that contain the malware attachment. If this mail has some malware attachment, what 0-hour auto purge will do? This will quarantine the message that contains the malware attachment. By default, only admin can view and manage quarantined malware messages. As we know, only administrator can view and release those quarantined malware messages. SAP for malware is enabled by default in anti-malware policies. In anti-malware policies, SAP is enabled by default. All right. Now we move to, let me just clear this. 1 second. All right. Yeah, fine. Now we move to the next one. 0 hour auto purge for phishing. What happens? How it works on 0 hour auto purge for phishing? If the system finds delivered a message that identify as phishing, if there is something find some phishing mail find by the SAP, whatever we have written on the anti-spam policies, that will take effect. SAP for phishing is enabled by default in anti-spam policies. The default action for the phishing email filtering verdict is quarantine message. So about the 0 hour auto purge for phishing is enabled by default in anti-spam policies. Next point, which is 0 hour auto purge for high confidence phishing. If the system finds delivered message that identify as high confidence phishing, SAP quarantine the message. By default, only administrator can view and manage quarantined high confidence phish messages. However, administrator can create and use quarantine policies to define what user can do to messages quarantined as high confidence phishing. All right, let's move on. So how 0 hour auto purge work with spam? 0 hour auto purge for spam. If the system finds delivered but unread messages that identify as spam, the SAP outcome depends on the action configured for the spam filtering verdict in the applicable anti-spam policy. The same like phishing. Okay. And by default, anti-spam policies enable SAP by default. The default action for the spam filtering verdict is move message to junk email folder. So this is an overall about 0 hour auto purge, how it works with malware, phishing, spam, and all other filtering techniques, all other things. Whatever we had discussed so far, we have discussed from the MS1 or 2 exam syllabus, and whatever Microsoft has given to us for the studies. Here, if you check detect message with spam malware using 0 hour auto purge. So here we have little more explanation about how 0 hour auto purge works with spam, phishing, and high confidence phishing, and with Microsoft Defender for Office 365. So you can for the detailed explanations apart from my video, if you want much more detailed explanations, you can go through with this document. All right. Before moving to enabling MRM retention policy, let's quickly see how you can enable RQ mailbox for an individual user. To enable RQ mailbox, you have to log into Exchange Admin Center. Under mailbox, select the particular mailbox where you want to enable RQ mailbox. So for in this example, I'm just selecting Mr. Abir's mailbox. So I just log in. Others, you have an option to mailbox archive. So let me just open this. It is already enabled for Abir's mailbox. Normally by default this will be disabled, so you can come here and enable it. And if you want to change the name here, by default it takes as in place archive of Abir. You can change it accordingly. Whatever name you want to display it on the RQ mailbox, you can give it accordingly. This way you can enable RQ mailbox individually to a mailbox, and through PowerShell command you can enable it for the entire tenant. First thing, to apply for the MRM retention policy, you should enable RQ mailbox should be enabled. All right, let's move on. So when we come to retention policies, first thing you have to log into Purview portal, compliance portal, purview.microsoft.com. Either you can come here from the 365 admin center, admin.microsoft.com, and here you have compliance, security and compliance portal, and you have to click on compliance. That will take you to this purview.microsoft.com. Now we have the a new portal for this. The look and feel of the Purview portal has been changed than the older one. All right, so when we land on Purview portal, purview.microsoft.com, here under solutions, select data data life select data lifecycle management. Under lifecycle management, you have exchange legacy, and MRM retention policies. So to create retention policy, before creating retention policy, you should create a MRM retention tag. By default, you have a lot of tags that is given from the portal itself. Either you can go with the default retention tag or you can create a customized one. So I'm going to create a new tag. I'm going to name it as move email older than 1 year. I'm going to give a description here. Great. Let me click on next. So here you have three options to apply the tags. First one is called default policy tag. The other one is retention policy tag, which is called RPT. And the third one is personal tag. So you have three types of tags here. You have three types of tag. One is default policy tag, the other one is retention policy tag, the third one is personal tag. So what is the difference between all the three? Let's see it here. So default policy tag, which is called DPT, it is applied to the entire mailbox. The default policy tag is applied to the entire mailbox. When you want to apply the retention policy to the entire mailbox, you can select uh, DPT. For example, entire mailbox, the mails older than 1 year should move to the archive mailbox. And you want to replicate all the folders in the mailbox to the online archive, you can use this default policy tag. According to your convenience, you might have created a different folder in your mailbox. So you want to create a replica of that in the online archive mailbox, you can go with default policy. For it, apply to the entire mailbox. When it comes to retention policy tag, RPT, it apply to the specific default folder like inbox, delete items, send items. So in case if you have some customized folder and you want to create a replica of that in the online archive, then you should go with the default policy. And if you want to apply it only for some specific folders, then better go with retention policy tag. And the third one is applied for user selected email or folders. Use case give users the flexibility to apply custom retention rules to specific items. So personal tag, we are giving users the flexibility to apply custom retention rules to specific items. Summary, you can see DPT for the entire mailbox. Who control it? Admin can control this. Delete all emails or delete move archive mailbox older than 5 years to this particular folder. In that such cases, you can use DPT. And RPT for default folders like inbox, delete item, etc. Who controls it? Admin controls this. Auto delete item email after 30 days or something, you can apply this. Personal tag is for user selected folders and email. User control it. Move to archive after 1 year. I'm going to apply for the entire mailbox. Let me click on next. Here, when item reaches to the following age, I keep it as 365 days. When the entire mailbox reaches 1 year, 365 days, retention action, what action it should take? Delete and allow recovery, permanently delete it, or move item to archive. I select move item to archive. So item will be moved to the user's archive mailbox. If the user does not have archive mailbox, no action is taken. We have enabled the archive mailbox now for Mr. Abir. So when we apply this particular retention policy, what exactly happens? When mails older than 365 days, mail older than 1 year will be automatically moved to the archive folder. And whatever folders it has in its main mailbox, the same replica will be there in the archive mailbox also. We click on next, submit. Yeah, so now the tag has been created. So this is the tag which we created it. So after creating the retention tag, we are going to create the MRM retention policy. All right, so let me create a new policy for here. Let me create a new policy. I give the name as the same name I provided here, like move email older than 1 year, and we have to select the add the tag here. So we have already created the tag, which is move email older than 1 year. Action is archive. All right, let me click on add. Let me click on next, submit. So the policy has been created, but it is not applied to any user. Now we have created the customized MRM retention policy, which is move email older than 1 year, but it is not applied to any user. You can either apply individually to a user, or you can apply it for the entire tenant. So now let's see how you can apply the customized policy to a mailbox individually. So I'm in the Exchange Admin Center. I'm selecting the particular mailbox. Here we select ABS mailbox. Let me select that. And here under mailbox, you have retention policy. If you have not applied any customized retention policy, by default, it takes default MRM policy. All right. If you have created some customized policies like move email older than 1 year, which we created just now, this one I had created earlier and applied to this user. If I had not applied this, default MRM policy could have taken effect. All right. So in our case, we are going to apply move email older than 1 year. This is the one which we created just now. And if you save it, this will be applied to the entire mailbox. I'm facing an issue with my tenant. I do have an issue with the license. My license has been expired, so I won't be able to apply it. But still, I can just show you here. If you can select the policy, and if you have the license, you can save it. Then it will be working. When you enable RQ mailbox for a user, when you log into the Outlook of that particular user, you will receive like in place. You will see that in place RQ mailbox of that particular user. That user name will be written here. In this case, it is Abir. And when we apply the MRM retention policy, in our case, we have created an MRM retention policy. Mail older than 1 year should move to in place RQ. So in all these folders, whatever mail has exceeded 1 year age, that will automatically move to in place archive, and it will create the folders here. For example, we have a folder here called archive. In this archive folder, whatever if any mails are there older than 1 year, then a replica of archive folder will create here, which means in this in place archive, one folder will create in the name of archive, and the mail that is older than 1 year will move to that particular folder. In the same case of inbox, sent items, deleted items, draft, everywhere. In these folders, if any of the mails are exceeded 1 year age, then automatically a folder will be created here, and that mail will be moved to this in place archive. So this is how it works. I will be just showing how you can enable RQ mailbox for the entire tenant. For that, you can use this command in the PowerShell. You just open the PowerShell as administrator, connect Exchange Online. This will ask you to enter your authentications, provide your user ID and password, and if MFA is enabled, give the MFA. Then use this command. Get mailbox cell size unlimited, set mailbox retention policy, and here you have to mention your retention policy name. I have already tested this how it works, and I have done it in the production and verified it is working properly, so you can use this confident. All right, because I have already tested it and I have used it in the production environment. Why I am not able to show you, because as I told you, I have an issue with the license. My license of my tenant has got expired, so I have a limitation to show you practically as of now, but I have recently done this in the production, so you can use this. So that's it. Microsoft Secure Score is a measurement of an organization's security posture, with high number indicating more recommended action taken. It can be found in the Defender portal, security.microsoft.com. You can log into the Defender portal from 365 Admin Center. Here, security, if you click on this Admin Center, click on security, that will take you to the Defender portal, which is security.microsoft.com. And here in this portal, if you navigate to the left side, you could see the secure score here. Let me click on that. This is Microsoft Secure Score, and you could see my secure score as of now here. How secure score help the organization? The first thing, it report on the current state of the organization's security posture. By checking the secure score, we will come to know where our organization's security posture is as of now. So that is the first thing, how it helped the organization. A report on the current state of the organization's security posture. Improve their security posture by providing discoverability, visibility, guidance, and control. And the third point is compare with benchmark and establish key performance indicators. Now let's see how the secure score works. You get points for the following actions. First one, configuring recommended security features. In this security portal, it will show you some recommended actions. By implementing these recommended actions, you can improve the secure score. So that is the first thing, configuring recommended security features. The second one, doing security related tasks. So you will have to do all the security related tasks so that you can improve the secure score. And the third point, addressing the recommended action with a non-Microsoft application or software or an alternative mitigation. Which means you can either go with Microsoft products or you can use non-Microsoft products to improve the security posture. For example, antivirus. You can go with the Defender for endpoint, or you can use some third-party antivirus tool, and you can improve the security postures. That is how secure score works. Before we move to best practices of optimal score, let me just go back to the portal and show you more about it. When we click on Microsoft Secure Score, you get an overview of Microsoft Secure Score, which shows the current secure score of your organization. In my case, it is 67.18% out of I got 189 point out of 282. These points will be changed according to the license you have. For example, if you have a Defender for endpoint license, then one more tab will be added here called devices, and that will provide you, that has more score, like 700 or something score is provided for that. So this 282 will move to 1050 and more than that. Identity, data, apps are the default category. But when you have license for the Defender for endpoint, devices category also will be added here. For the action to review, we have regressed to address, which means to be addressed, then planned, risk accepted. Risk accepted in the sense we do not have a choice as of now. We do not have the license. We will have to accept the risk. So that is risk accepted and recently added. So these are the action to review option shows. So let me move to the next tab, which is recommended action. Here, it will show you all the actions, recommended action that to be taken. And it will show the status here, to be addressed, already completed, or it has done through some third-party application, then you can select that. So if you go to the filter, you will get more idea on it. So category, we have apps, data, identity. If you have devices license, then endpoint license, then devices also will be added here. Status will be alternative mitigation. Alternative mitigation is nothing but you have done some other option like third-party applications or some other mitigation you have already done. The status can be completed or you have planned it. Risk accepted. As I told you, you do not have any license as of now or any choice right now. So I'm accepting the risk, getting the, as a system administrator, when we check the risk accepted from the point of system administrator, we are informing the management there is a risk. If you do not purchase this or if you do not have this license, it may affect the security as of now. We are reporting the our organization or the management saying that these are the risks are already there. Either we have to mitigate that or we have to accept the risk.
Then third party is nothing but we are using some third party. Instead of using Microsoft security, we are using some third party security tool to mitigate the risk, mitigate the security issues. Then to address, this is to be addressed. Now we are going to address this. So you can filter it through according to license, protect, and status. All right, you can sort it out according to the points. The highest point, you can bring it in the top. You can put it in ascending and descending order of the points. So I have put it in the ascending order. The highest point is for enable conditional access policies to block uh, legacy authentication, and this comes under the category of identity. So if you click on that, it provides a general description about that recommendation, what this recommendation is. Implementation status, you have 29 uses that do not have legacy authentication or blocked. So where are we as of now? Out of 29 uses, all the 29 do not have legacy authentication blocked. So Microsoft is recommending us to block the legacy authentication and go with advanced modern authentication technologies. This is the description of that recommendation and where we are right now. All the 29 uses are not are in risk as of now. And what is the user impact is mentioned here. When we go to implementation, it shows whether you have the license for this. Yes, I have the license, and what step to be done for this. In certain cases, it will exactly show what steps to be done. Each step it will be showing the cases, it will be showing as this to the, it will be providing Microsoft documents. You have to read it and do the needful. I'm going to filter with the data and to address, apply. So here my category is data, and these two are to be addressed. First one, 365 sensitivity labeling to asset Microsoft Purview data map. So whether by checking here, you will come to know whether you have the license. For this, I don't have the license. Microsoft 365 E5 license is required to do sensitivity labeling to asset in Microsoft Purview data map. I do not have the license for that. Even for auto labeling also, you required 365 E5 license. So what I mean to say, from the Microsoft Secure Score, you will get all the recommended actions and how you can implement those steps. For example, let us consider this ensure mailbox auditing for all users and enable. If you click on implementation here, it gives us the step how you can implement ensure mailbox auditing for all users is enabled. And what I want to tell you, before you do any recommended action, first of all, you should understand what exactly you are going to do. You will have to read the description. If you are not understanding from the description, what I recommend you go to Google or use ChatGPT or any artificial AI chat boxes and understand about that recommendation and understand what will be the impact if you implement that security. Should not blindly implement any recommended actions. These are just recommended actions. Okay, Microsoft is recommending you to do something, but before doing that, you should know what will be the impact, what exactly that recommendation is, what will be the impact if you do that, and if you do not do that, you should understand that first, then go for implementing that. So I'm talking from my experience before, because we do it right now in the production environment. When it comes to the production environment, when you are implementing some recommended action, you may get some endpoint, you may get some calls from the end user. They may say, I'm not able to use this, this is blocking me to do this action. So you should be well aware about before doing this recommended action. It may affect their day-to-day activities. If it is not recommended, you can inform them, see, you are not supposed to use this particular application or this particular way of you doing this. You will have to change it. You have to educate the end user. Or the other thing what you can do, you can add exception by accepting the risk. You'll have to talk to the your manager or concerned IT administrator, or the report to the management and get the risk accepted. then you add it in the exception list. I'm giving some practical examples related to the recommended actions. And you can do the recommended action through Intune or through group policy or SCM or any tool. You can use that. So let me just talk about some best practices for the secure score. Aim for at least 70% secure score for well protected Microsoft 365 environment. It should be minimum 70%. It can be above. Most of the organization will demand us to uh, set it 80%. So it is good to have 80% secure score, but not 100%. Don't blindly aim for 100%, because if you blindly aim for 100%, then you are hardening the security in the highest, and the end user may not be able to do any activity. It may affect their day-to-day activities. So aim for 70% and more, or 80% and more, but not 100%. These recommendation will keep on changes. They may implement some new recommendation also to the secure score portal. So you will have to regularly review and implement secure score recommendation in Microsoft Defender portal. So these are some best practices. This is the overall idea about secure score, how you can implement it, and how you can improve the score.